First of all, I do apologize if you hear any sounds during this. Those are going to be like notifications for text and emails and Facebook Messenger and stuff because I'm recording this audio on my phone. So I do apologize for that, and I do apologize if I do sound a little tired. I'm not as tired as I normally am. I think it's mainly because I took my vitamin this morning. I haven't been doing that for a bit, and I guess that does kind of affect you. So whenever you can, make sure you get your vitamins in you, whether the gummies or hard or whatever. But be that as it may, I wanted to come on here and talk about the second trailer that dropped today for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, I found out about this trailer dropping today while watching the 49ers take on the Packers. Because during that, and I'm sure for any other local game in any other market, outside of that being America's Game of the Week, which means a majority of the country gets it, basically they showed, a little TV spot for it. And apparently they've been doing that lately as well through other sporting means and other shows and stuff, showing little TV snippets here and there of, scenes from the movie of what you can expect from the movie, with basically the message at the end that the trailer would drop on the 25th. And that's what it did. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch it initially when it happened because I was working today. And I decided, here's the thing that happened. I looked online, I looked on Twitter, now X and everything, Facebook and all that, and I saw that it had dropped. So I decided, okay, when I get home, I'll watch it and then also talk about it. And I have to say that what we see here is great. It is terrific. I mean, basically, you get a lot of the Sonic Adventure 2 references and acknowledgments and loose adaptations, of that game, along with references, acknowledgments, and loose adaptations of the Shadow game. Really great to see that. I mean, Jeff Fowler, he worked on the Shadow game. Obviously, you're going to have references in there as much as you can. Unfortunately, one thing that a lot of people are pointing out, in the scene where you see Shadow get a gun, it's not the gun that you would normally think he would have from the game, mainly because this is a PG-rated film and not what people thought it should be, and that, of course, would be PG-13. Now, that could all change. That could all change between now and next month, because you're basically, 25 days away or less from the movie being released. So basically, you got time, to maybe see a change in rating by the MPA to, basically coincide with what the movie is going to be about and everything, going forward. But anyway, from what I've seen with this trailer, I thought was really, really good. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things they showed in here that some people wish they would have held off on until the movie was released in theaters, but they felt like, hey, if we do this, it's going to attract people, and that's what it's good. That's what it's done, especially for people like me. It's attracted me to want to go buy a ticket and see it when it comes out. And I'm going to say this: I think it's really good, and from what you could tell from this trailer and the previous trailer, I think what's going to happen with Sonic, and I said this before, I think the last time I talked about about a trailer for the film, of course that being the first one, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have Sonic kind of learn a big lesson here that, yeah, it's great to be, loose and everything, have some fun, be a little free, but there's also a time to do that, but also time to be serious, to to grow up and be mature and be serious about what has to be done and everything, and not take things so lightly, especially when it comes to someone like Shadow. And there's also moments in this trailer where we get the scene basically. I don't know if it's back at Angel Island. It looks like it's in Angel Island, or at least the temple on Angel Island, where when Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic are tied up by on a chain, and you see Joe Robotnik and Robotnik both being referred to by Sonic by Eggman, by Sonic saying there's two of them, and Jim Carrey as Robotnik, Prime Robotnik, basically saying W villains, W pleasure, or W villains, W fun, or something like that. And anyway, Shadow shows up and he drops this like thing, this little marble, which Sonic, looks at it first and goes like, "Ooh, nice little shiny marble, though, so scary." And then all of a sudden it just explodes into a portal that starts sucking things in. And Sonic's like, "Okay, that is really scary." But you see, Robotnik's reaction when Shadow drops that, Jim Carrey's Robotnik, Eggman, if you will. You see, his reaction, and right there, that moment, it kind of tells you that even though he still goes through with, what they have planned, you kind of see, Eggman's reaction, Robotnik's reaction, I should say, when he sees, Shadow drop that marble and it, explodes into a portal. You kind of see him kind of react because I think he knows what that is, based on, I guess, what Gerald, his grandfather, told him. But you can see the reaction on his face, like, whoa, this might be a step too far even for me, to take against someone like Sonic. But that's what Shadow's doing. And then of course you get the line where they're in, when they're in space, you see the Ark, because yes, the Ark is going to be a part of this, and yes, space is going to be a major part of this, and yes, they do blow up the moon. So, or at least a majority of it. So they do that. And, I like how, Gerald, because in the trailer, you hear Gerald basically say, "It's time, Shadow, it's time, Shadow, now we will have our revenge." And it's almost like you could tell that this version of Gerald, unlike other versions we've seen, this version of Gerald is basically not all there. He's not like totally gone, but he's not all there to the point that basically what, Shadow is going to basically plan to do, or is hinted at planning to do, is going to probably wake something up in him and in Eggman, his grandson, to realize, okay, we are taking it too far, and Shadow's going to probably try to take it further. Because there is a line where, Gerald is talking about, with Shadow's power and the Ark and everything, at the disposal, and, he says something about that, and everything. He says that, with that at the disposal, they can, do more, and they can, and then all of a sudden, I think Eggman, Jim Carrey's Eggman, his grandson, because Jim Carrey plays both parts. Jim Carrey basically says, kind of finishes it by saying, we could rule humanity and all that. But then Shadow kind of, I guess, follows that up by saying after they're done, there won't be nothing left to rule. So right there you have Gerald basically being like, with Shadow's power at our disposal and in the Ark, we can get our revenge. And then you have, I think, Eggman being like, yeah, and we can rule over humanity. And then Shadow following that up by saying, once we're done, there'll be nothing left to rule. Now, we don't know if Eggman and Gerald hear him say that, or if he's just saying that under his breath to where they can hear him. But basically, if this follows suit in any extent in the game, Eggman's going to realize, oh crap, Shadow wants to kill everybody just because of what happened to Maria. And then he's going to question Gerald like, Grandpa, did you know about this? And we're going to find out whether or not Gerald knew, or even Gerald's going to be like, look, I wanted revenge, but, I didn't want to take it this far. I just wanted to scare them into finding a way to give me back Maria. And I think that's what's going to lead us into whatever character comes next. In the future films. But, basically, we don't know we don't know exactly, what Gerald's reaction is going to be, whether he's in on what Shadow wants to do or not. But obviously, if they're following, the game in any capacity, then basically Eggman is going, Eggman Robotnik, he's going to realize, yeah, maybe aligning with Shadow and even my grandfather might have been a mistake. I get where they're coming from. I get wanting to threaten humanity to rule over it, but this is going a little too far. And there are scenes in the trailer where you see Eggman on a platform in the Ark. He's trying to, I guess, control it or control something. So it's going to be, it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. There's even a moment where, Sonic says this ends now, and you see like the Ark getting ready to shoot at the planet, and then you hear Shadow saying, you're right, this does end. And it looks like they're fighting on some kind of charred land, kind of charred, burnt territory. And my assumption is the same as anybody else's, and that it's got to be the moon. It has to be the moon because there's a lot of promotional material out there that indicates that to be the case. But we'll have to just see. There are some things they did not show. There are some things they did not show in the trailer that have been talked about, have been seen through promotional works and posters. Like Agent Stone has this suit with these purple, I guess you could say wrist lasers or arm lasers or something like that. So we don't see that in the trailer, but we obviously know he's going to get them. How he gets them and how he uses them is the question. A lot of people would assume by seeing him get left behind when the Ark is taken off, one's going to assume that maybe he's going to use it to help save the planet, but we'll have to see. But it's going to be really interesting. It does have its humor, just like the other films, which, by the way, I do recommend you go and see. They are fantastic. Go and see those films. You can see them on Paramount Plus, or just pop in your physical disc if you have them, or just watch them digitally if you put the codes in. But they are fantastic, and if you haven't seen them, do so. You're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. The Knuckles series, that's kind of a hit or miss in many people's opinion. I thought it was all right. But, again, I recommend watching the movies. And again, if you want to see the Knuckles series, that's up to you. But the point I'm getting at, though, is the humor is still there. Like, there's a moment where they do escape the, I guess you could say, the portal that's going to destroy them, suck them in and destroy them by, Sonic taking a ring out and doing a trick shot and getting a ring portal made in front of the shadow portal or whatever you want to call it, and it sends them back to Tom and Maddie's, or I think is that her name? Tom, Maddie, or something like that. Yeah, Tom and Maddie. Basically, Jason Marsden's character and his wife. And there's a funny part there when they show up, and Knuckles is the first one that's like looking at them. And they're all still tied up in a chain, and Knuckles, Sonic's trying to talk to them, and like Knuckles is the one looking at them, and Sonic's like, Knuckles, do you mind? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. And then Sonic repeats himself by saying, we need your help on a very top secret mission that's basically going to, put it basically has the planet at risk. And they're like, we're in, and apparently it's going to be him, it's going to be Maddie, and it's going to be her entire family helping out. We don't know if we'll get the Wade character in there, but I think we might. If you got basically Maddie's family in there, you're going to have the Wade character as well. So you can't, have Tom the Donut Lord's character in there without having Wade in there as well. So you might have him show up to help out. And then, of course, like I said, the humor, like I said, is, spot on, especially with some, shots, some pop shots, if you will, at other cultural references, because basically at the beginning of the trailer, we see them at this Chow Garden-like restaurant in Japan, where it's basically like a Chuck E. Cheese-like place or whatever you want to call it. And that's where they get attacked at. But basically you have them there, and you see one kid come up to Tails and say, "Are you Detective Pikachu?" And then Knuckles like, "He does look like a Pokemon! Pika Pika!" And then all of a sudden, that's when they transition over to Eggman's bots, shooting at them. And Sonic's like, "Konnichiwa?" So again, the humor is there to help balance out what's going to be a very dark version of the entire show, the entire movie. Well, I wouldn't say entire movie, but in the entire series, basically a darker version. of the entire franchise so far. But yeah, I thought the humor, is hit. Not excuse me. Like I told you earlier, I'm tired. I got a little tongue tied. But like I said, and my hand just hit the mic there. But like I said, the humor, balances out what's going to be a very dark environment, movie wise, and probably the darkest of the films. But overall, I liked it. I liked it, and I'm gonna definitely see the movie when it comes out. Hopefully, I'll be able to go see it without any issue. And again, as far as who the next character is going to be, because a lot of people that have talked about this have talked about the fact that there are movies, like Jeff Fowler and his team have pretty much confirmed other movies and spin-off miniseries, event series that are going to be coming that, helps bring all this together. And whatever happens in this film, is supposedly going to lead into the introduction of a new character at the end. Who that's going to be, we don't know. I've already said my piece. I believe it's going to be Blaze the cat. I just feel that, she fits into this environment. I really do, excuse me. I feel that she'll fit into this environment. Although if we're going to go the time route, the time portal, time traveling route, then I've got a feeling Silver might show up. And that would work too because, Shadow, just imagine the storyline there. Shadow meets this other Hedgehog who can travel through time. Sonic meets him. He has the power of time travel. Imagine both of them, in the fourth movie being like, hey, man, if you can go back in time, maybe, like Sonic could say, hey, man, if you can go back in time, maybe you can go back to the moment before I lose my mother figure, Longclaw, and then there you go. Maybe that's how Longclaw comes back. We don't know. Shadow the same way, and so with Gerald, they could be like, hey, you got the power to travel through time, kid. We need you to help us. We need you to help prevent the death of a young child. And, they could try to convince him or trick him into going back in time and saving Maria. But, that all depends if Silver is the new character coming in. We'll have to see. I would have to go with Blaze coming in, as the, probably the most legitimate, if not logical character. Because if we're going to go from planet to planet after this, space-wise, it makes sense if she's going to be that character. Now, a lot of people have said they hope it's going to be Amy, maybe both Amy and Rouge. We'll see. But I've already told you, my top three is who, game-wise, as to who I think it's going to be. Blaze at number 1, Amy at number 2, and then Silver at number 3. Because, again, Amy's the other one fans want to see, but we'll have to wait to, see what they do at the end. But I think Blaze is the most logical in my opinion. Now, outside of that, of course, there are other Sonic characters, non-game-wise, comic book and all that. As I've alluded to, the wild card, the one that really would blow the roof, off a lot of theaters, a lot of cinemas, whether you're at a Cinemark, a Regal, an AMC, whatever, the one character I think that would really shock a lot of folks, get people talking to show up to, help build to those next films would be Sally Acorn. I think her showing up would definitely be like, oh my God, did not see that coming. Serge the Tinnick from IDW, her showing up would be another huge surprise. And then, of course, the Freedom Fighters, which includes Sally and even Amy, but also Bunny, Rhoda, and Antoine showing up would be an even bigger one. So those are like the top 3 non-game characters. Well, Serge is kind of a game character, but not really. That I feel outside of the other 3, there are possibilities to really shake things up, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see, because there's going to be another trilogy after this. And then we don't know if there's going to be another one after that. Well, only time will tell. If there's one thing we know about Paramount, if a movie, makes a lot of money, whether it's good or not, if it gets into that billion market, then they're going to be like, yeah, we want more of that. We want more. If you don't believe me, take a look what they did with Transformers. Take a look at all the live action films they did with Transformers. They milked them dry until they had to basically take a break for a while, make a comeback, a soft reboot with Bumblebee. And then, that was a success enough for them to do Rise of the Beast. which was another moderate success, which is probably leading us into a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. Whether Hasbro funds that or not, we'll have to see. Right now they're saying they won't, but I think they will eventually. I think right now they're just a little mad, and I do apologize for that vibrational noise. Like I mentioned, those kind of things are going to come up and all that. That's a text and everything. But anyway, though, we'll have to see if we're going to only get 6 films along with some, mini-series, event series in between to help fill the gaps, or if we're going to get 9, with the same pattern repeated as well. We'll have to see. But I like it. I like what I saw, and I highly recommend you guys check the trailer out. It's got me excited. And again, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat if you're going to be commenting in that. Let me know if you guys feel that the characters I think are going to show up at the end, as the new characters, from the game perspective, is legit. And do you think from the non-game perspective, kind of like out of nowhere, do you think those characters or a group of characters is probably the best, answer as to who could show up at the end of the 3rd film? Let me know. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below in the comment section and in the live chat during the premiere. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this, what your take is on it. And really, that's all I can really say. And yeah, that's about it. Ring the bell for notification, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Click on the links in the description to check out my content elsewhere, as well as find me at deviantart.com at BVW1979. And check out the Teespring store. Link is in the description. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, I am out.